Thank you for your patience. We have some technical problems, but they have been solved. I'd like to invite the Deputy Minister for Technical Services, Honorable Daniel Sando, who is the presiding officer for today's press conference. But before he comes out, I'd like to inform you that we have the Deputy Minister for Administration, Honorable. We have the Deputy Minister for Administration, Honorable Tapa. We have the Assistant Minister for Technical Services. Also, we have the Assistant Minister for Information Services, all in the hall. The Assistant Minister for Information Services is Honorable Matthew Nyafu is the Assistant for Information Services. We have Honorable Nat Blady. Honorable Nat Blady is the Assistant Minister for Technical Services. And so I'd like to invite the Deputy and Presiding Officer who will officially introduce to you our guest for today's program. Mr. Sandro.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, welcome the Liberian public to another edition of the regular press briefing here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. When we took over, the team, we have consistently said to you that we intend to have government speak with one voice, and the essence thereof is to be able to synchronize government communication. And so, very frequently, you will see that major actors in various sectors of the Liberian government will be coming here, and I know some of you are concerned on the frequency of my good friend Josiah Joka, the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, Amika Press Briefing. But it's very important when the issue becomes topical and the Liberian people are interested in the given subject, we have an obligation to duly inform them. So today we have Mr. Josiah Jaga. He's the Director General of the Civil Service Agency. He will be mounting this podium after I retire to speak to you on some of the issues that he raised here. But before we invite him to the podium, there are a couple of issues that we have been instructed on behalf of the ministry to highlight to you members of the press. We'd like to commend the Liberian Senate in a special sitting for tremendously executing some of the constitutional duty attached to that honorable body. Yesterday, some of a significant portions of the nominees sent to the Senate by the President from MICA were confirmed. And I'd like to say thank you to the Committee on Information and Broadcasting headed by Chair by Senator Abraham Darius Dillon. So yesterday, we are pleased to inform you. It is important that we do so because over time, the Minister, General Limit, Mavi Pia, and I have been the only confirmed officials here. So we now been joined by Mr. Johnny Tapa, who is the Deputy Minister, Deputy Minister for Administration. Mr. Johnny Tapa is assisted by Henrietta Barron. She's not here today. my good friend Matthew Yemplu. Matthew, please stand. He was confirmed yesterday by the Liberia Senate as Assistant Minister for Information Services. Matthew is one of you. He's a friend of the media, a journalist who has been given the opportunity to serve in government. So I look forward to a very fruitful working relationship with all of you in the press. Also, another journalist, Mr. Nat Beji. Nat Beji comes with work experience from a foreign mission. He used to be the press attaché to our mission in Nigeria, and then he was later relocated to Ghana. Today he found himself in the executive branch of government, and now confirmed as Assistant Minister of Technical Services at the Ministry of Information. Please have a seat. We look forward to all those officials that were nominated to be confirmed to join us, so that we can collectively do the work of which His Excellency appointed us here to do. So also at the Liberian Senate, some of you have been following the ongoing debate about the War and Economic Crime Code. The Senate expeditiously acted to overwhelmingly sign a resolution expressing the political will and the resolve of the Liberian legislature in their support for the establishment of a War and Economic Crimes Code for Liberia. Members of the legislature are direct representatives of the people, and we have no doubt that their action is informed by the decisions, the support, and consultation of their constituents, making up the entire country. So, this to a greater extent proves a departure from the system where previous government would campaign on certain promises, and then when they are given political power, they renege to implement or to execute those promises. His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Yumabuaka, during the campaign, was very unequivocal about bringing to an end the culture of impunity in Liberia. 21 years ago, the civil conflict ended. As a country, we have not been able to bring to a closure all of the conversations leading to the Liberian crisis. When you read the recommendation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it outlined the antecedent to the Liberian crisis, which to a greater extent points to a porous system that lacked deterrence. And so the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Code, when fully executed, is not just intended to go after perpetrators of human rights abuses that occurred during the 14 years of bloodbath that we experienced in Liberia. It is meant to appease victims, family members, and loved ones who are yet to be recognized by the Liberian state. So, we commend the Liberian legislature. It's a step in the right direction. And as a ministry that speaks for the Liberian government, we're all making our responsibility to highlight major achievements of various branches of government. That's why we talk about one government and one voice. Our minister, the Honorable General Pia, is not here today. As you may be aware, he's attending the signing ceremony of the groundbreaking ceremony for the expansion project of the Liberia Broadcasting system. LBS, you know, is a state broadcaster, and our Chinese counterparts have been doing extremely well in their support to the Liberia broadcasting system, and today they are all there to have a groundbreaking ceremony for the expansion project of the Liberia broadcasting system. Again, it's a laudable venture as we intend to make LBS a place where every Liberian, regardless of the political persuasion, can go to speak and address issues of national concern. We'd like to commend our Chinese counterparts for their involvement so far. That being said, we would now like to invite to the podium the Director General of the Civil Service. The Director General of the Civil Service will make a presentation. The text will be available to you, members of the press. After his presentation, you already see a giant-sized projector on the screen. He's come to give us a vivid description of what we inherited at the CSA and how we intend to professionalize it. I must admit that he's one person who has been very pointed and very outspoken about the way he wants to go about in restoring sanctity and dignity to the Liberian civil service. He was on the radio 2 days ago, and I listened to him, and he spoke to the issues very unequivocally. And so, without much ado, I have the honor to invite the Director General of the Civil Service, Mr. Josiah Joka.
Thank you, Deputy Minister Sando, and all the other deputy and assistant ministers of this historic institution. I said the last time, it's always a great feeling when I find myself in this historic hall, the Charles Bayon Hall, where we've been provided the opportunity to update the Liberian people on happenings at the Civil Service Agency. Today, I once again congratulate all of you in the media for the role you continue to play in keeping our people informed and educated on the work that we do on their behalf. It's highly commendable. On behalf of the Civil Service Agency, I express sincere gratitude to the Minister, Honorable Gerald MPA, and the entire leadership team at NICAD for this glorious opportunity. Today, we are pleased to provide the public with major updates on the Personnel Action Notice completion process, the 2021 Payroll Compliance Audit Recommendation Implementation, and the CSA's 100-day deliverables. Since the CSA announced the requirements for individuals on the payroll to regularize their status by completing the personnel action notices, we continue to receive calls and messages from individuals nationwide who have not complied with this key employment requirement. Many have expressed excitement and interest in regularizing their status in order for the CSA to have comprehensive employee data for each of them. In short, they are eager to regularize their status, which is the right thing to do. These employees are inquiring daily about the steps and procedures for the regularization process. This crucial exercise will enable the CSA to have accurate data for each employee with regards to their qualifications and processing of pension and other benefits. Section 35 of the Civil Service Standing Orders of 2012 provides that personnel action notices are processed for new employment, deletions, transfers, and promotions. This valid legal framework clearly provides the roles of spending entities as well as the steps and procedures in completing their personnel action notices. Unfortunately, this legally binding instrument has been consistently violated by my predecessors at the CSA, thereby creating problems that we have today. Notwithstanding, today, I want to assure all civil servants affected by this situation that the problem is a shared responsibility, not theirs alone. The CSA, under my predecessors and ministries, agencies, and commissions, take a bigger portion of the blame for not complying with this crucial employment requirement. In the same vein, the affected employees also share a portion of the blame for failing to ask the relevant questions about their statuses, especially the incomplete nature of their bans for those who initiated the process. In other words, there's no need to panic as the CSA is instituting the appropriate measures to ensure a smooth employee status regularization process. The 90-day period for the PAN completion process has been extended to 120 days, 4 months starting from April 2nd to August 2nd, 2024. This will allow the CSA to deploy the required logistics teams of analysts to work with the human resource departments of spending entities who are bona fide employees to complete the PAN process. The CSA will produce jingles with relevant messages in English and local languages to adequately educate and inform our people on the entire PAN completion exercise and air the messages on national and local radio stations. We will also continue to work closely with the Ministry of Education, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism to provide regular updates on the entire exercise. Towards this end, I am pleased to inform you that the resident representative of ECOWAS, Her Excellency Josephine Nkrumah, has provided the CSA a golden opportunity to use the ECOWAS radio station to adequately educate and inform the public about the PAN completion process and other civil service reform activities. ECOWAS radio's programs are aired on 17 local radio stations across the country. This is a big boost to this national effort, for which the CSA is very grateful to ECOWAS for the vital support. In the coming days, the CSA will send a timeline to all the spending entities for the entire exercise, detailing key activities with execution dates and assigned teams. The timeline will aid spending entities, human resource departments, in particular, to appropriately prepare themselves for the exercise. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, a public sector modernization project, PSMP, was implemented by the CSA, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and a host of other spending entities over the last 6 years, with the overarching goal of instituting major reforms to ensure prudent public finance management. An integral part of the PSMP was the National Payroll Management and Control System to ensure accountability and transparency in the usage of public funds to pay government employees. the CSA extends profound gratitude to development partners, especially the government of the United States through USAID, the Swedish government, the EU, and the World Bank Group for providing the much needed funding support to this vital project. Also, the CSA expresses and his government for allowing the General Auditing Commission to conduct this comprehensive payroll compliance audit across the 103 spending entities. In keeping with accountability and transparency, the General Auditing Commission carried out the forensic payroll compliance audit from January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2021. The payroll audit uncovered alarming proportions of financial mismanagement, fraud, and waste, and laid out in the Auditor General's findings and recommendations. The recommendations are divided into segments, with some requiring a multi-sectoral implementation approach and the majority needing simple and straightforward actions. Unfortunately, the WIA administration did not implement the Auditor General's recommendations. Today, with immediate effect, the CSA is taking the following actions to implement the Auditor General's recommendations. 1. During the audit, the GSC observed that 122 employees from across 20 ministries and agencies had shared bank account numbers. There are two scenarios associated with this discrepancy. For the first scenario, one employee with the same name, same NIR, that's National Identification Registry number, the same date of birth, is listed twice under two different entities with two positions, but one bank account at a single bank. This is double dipping, meaning the employee alone is receiving two salaries. For the second scenario, two different individuals have the same bank account number, different positions, and are working in the same entity. These are ghost names representing ghost employees who are receiving payments for work not done. The government is losing $30,795.09 monthly to this discrepancy. The Auditor General recommends, therefore, that these individuals illegally and fraudulently sharing bank account numbers be permanently removed from the payroll. In keeping with the Auditor General's recommendations, the CSA has placed a moratorium on all salary payments to the 122 individuals concerned for the month of April 2024. Pending a 1-month verification. Failure to be verified during the stipulated period, the affected individuals will be permanently removed from the payroll as of May 2024. 2. During the audit, the GSC observed that mobile money payments were made to 127 individuals whose names on the GSM register mobile numbers were different from the names on the payroll. The government is losing $12,040.14 United States dollars and $550,852.75 Liberian dollars monthly. In other words, illegitimate individuals or personnel are being paid for services not performed. In keeping with the Auditor General's recommendation, the CSA has placed a moratorium on all salary payments to the 127 individuals concerned for the month of April 2024, pending 1 month verification. Failure to be verified in April, the CSA will permanently remove the black affected individuals from the payroll as of May 2024. The GSC also observed that 9,287 employees, representing 13.7% of employees' records across 91 spending entities, were unavailable for physical verification during the audit. Payments are being made to ghost employees, leading to fraud, waste, and misappropriation. In other words, illegitimate individuals or personnel are being paid for services not performed. Therefore, the Auditor General recommends that individuals not verified within 90 days, that was in 2021, about 2 years ago, be permanently removed from the government of Liberia's payroll. The government is losing $3,764,204.92 United States monthly as a direct result of this gross discrepancy. Per the Auditor General's recommendation, the CSA has placed a moratorium on all salary payments to the 9,287 individuals concerned for April 2024, pending a 1 month verification. If the verification is not completed in April, the CSA will permanently remove the black affected individuals from the payroll as of May 2024. It was also observed by the GSC that 564 employees across 47 ministries and agencies did not have national identification numbers, what you call NINs. NINs, national identification numbers. The national identification number is a unique identifier for each government employee on the payroll. In the absence of an NIN, payments are being made to illegitimate or ghost employees. Therefore, the Auditor General advised that individuals who do not provide a valid NIN within 90 days of issuing the audit report, that was in 2021, should be permanently removed from the government of Liberia's payroll. The government is also losing $310,714.93 monthly to this discrepancy. Per the Auditor General's recommendation, today, the CSA has placed a moratorium on all salary payments to the 564 individuals concerned for the month of April 2024, pending 1 month verification exercise. If the verification is not completed in April, the CSA will permanently remove the black affected individuals from the payroll as of May 2024. During the audit, the GSC observed that 166 persons who turned out for the verification from 17 spending entities were suspected of impersonating as bona fide government employees. Payments are being made to these potential ghost employees, thereby leading to fraud, waste, and misappropriation of public funds. The Auditor General recommends, therefore, that suspicious individuals established as illegitimate persons be removed from the payroll. Per the Auditor General's recommendation, the CSA has placed a moratorium on all salary payments to the 166 individuals concerned for the month of April 2024, pending investigation. The CSA will permanently remove the black affected individuals from the payroll as of May 2024 if not verified during this stipulated period. Today, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, honorable deputy ministers and assistant ministers, I want to assure everyone that the government of Liberia, under the distinguished stewardship of His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr., is unwavering in its commitment to transparency, accountability, and good governance in public finance management. Therefore, the Civil Service Agency is fully committed and dedicated to attaining the arrest agenda and will take all the necessary steps in keeping with law to reform and professionalize the public service for improved performance and productivity. Before I take my seat, I know you are concerned that you see patches or forms before you. These bags are containing incomplete, or if you like, unprocessed personnel action notices that I referred to when I was here during the second time of my press briefing. These forms were initiated. I'm going to show some of them. It's okay. These forms were initiated by employees who are committed and dedicated, patriotic citizens who are committed and dedicated to serving their country in various respects. They initiated these forms with the hope of having them completed upon hiring so that the CSA can have a comprehensive data on each of them. The personnel action notice is not a making of the Director General Josiah F. Jokai Jr. It is in keeping with Section 35 of the Civil Service Standing Orders of 2012, which obligates me as Director General of the Civil Service to approve the employment of every employee in our civil service by approving each of these personnel action notices. These personnel action notices that I have here were not and have not been signed by my predecessor. Meaning you have thousands, as you can see, as I indicated the last time, thousands of employees who are currently working, are active, who are currently working. But their PANs are still unprocessed. And people are wondering, what is the rationale? What's the significance of completing the PAN? It is very important because the PAN contains all of the information regarding the employee's background, their qualification, skills, knowledge, and experience. And experience, their skills, knowledge, experience, their cultural competence, we call it their cultural fit, in terms of their core values that are supposed to align with the offices and institutions that they are supposed to serve. They are supposed to also provide, this form contains their bio, their personal data. Why this is important? If an employee is supposed to retire, we are supposed to process their pension based on their employment history. This form contains that information. As it stands right now, all the personnel action notices that you see here, those to whom these notices belong, their statuses are not clear because they were not approved by my predecessor. And if we have to reform the civil service, we have to make sure that people are employed in keeping with established laws, rules, guidelines. And that is what my leadership at the CSA is committed to. Because the civil service is the fulcrum of the government. If we have an inefficient civil service, we have an inefficient government. If the fulcrum is squeaky, then the government will be squeaky. The government will shake and start, because the fulcrum is not moving. And that's the civil service. Our responsibility is to make sure that we have a properly efficient, operationally functional civil service. We want to ensure that. That's what we want to show the Liberian people. So in the immediate term, as I have always indicated, we are focused on cleaning the payroll, and this is the mission we are on right now. This doesn't target any individual. This has no political motive, no political persuasion. As you can see, we are following the books. On the board, you see the pen process flow chart on that board. So the pen is initiated by the potential candidate, and it goes around until it comes to the Director General of the CSA for approval. You see that in the blue rectangle? That's the DG, the Director General. Once he approves it, then it means that the employment of that employee is legit. Then we are able to process benefits for the employee. Then we are able to process benefits for the employee's next of kin. All the information available. Then we are able to ensure that the employee's rights and benefits are guaranteed as an employee. We have to bring dignity to our public servants. We have to bring dignity to the payroll. We have to bring dignity to the workforce. So that's about the pens. That's why we brought this here to display, to tell you the thousands of pens we have for individuals who have not completely processed their pens. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to work with these people during the 4-month period. It's going to be a smooth exercise. We're not driving away people. We're not laying off people as the public is being misinformed. We are only going to follow the information of these people, identify them, and make sure that we complete this process so that they can have a legitimate status, complete their employment status. Those who have not initiated the paying process at all, we will also identify them working with the human resource departments of their various agencies and ensure that we provide them the forms, the paying forms, so that they can complete it, and we will support them to go through the process, the life cycle of the pen, to have it completed. That way, we can account for all the employees in the public service. CSA, that's our responsibility. We can account for all the employees, making sure they are the right people in the right places, making sure that their qualifications match the job requirement, because everything is provided for here, and it's our responsibility to ensure that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the exhibits. Can you show the exhibits, please? Those things I talk about: 166 persons having share accounts, 122 persons having share accounts, 9,287 persons being unverified, and the Auditor General recommending their removal. We have everything here. So right before you are employees with share bank accounts, and that's the observation I talked about. Here are they. So for example, Ministry of Internal Affairs, we have 35. The Civil Service Agency, we have 1. Financial Intelligence Unit, we have 1. The Judiciary, we have 14 persons. The Ministry of Education, we have 14. So that tells you that we're not making up anything. That what we are saying here is strictly from established data. Something that exists on our current payroll, discrepancies that we have to address. Can we move to the next exhibit, please? Mobile money discrepancies. Look at that. We have 122 persons on a payroll. Look at the amounts that are going to them in the last 2 columns, USD and Liberian dollar. So you see the different agencies, that's MOE alone right there, the name of the GSM network right there, but different from the name on the payroll. Look at that discrepancy. The name on the payroll is different from the name on the GSM network. But at the same time, whoever got the mobile phone number is receiving that money. Let's move to the next exhibit. Physical verification, head count, the 9,287 individuals. Can we go to the spread? Here you go. National Legislature, you have 757. And that is why the Central Administration of the National Legislature is going to be audited during the upcoming audit, payroll compliance audit. The honorable members of the legislature, to some extent, are aware because during my confirmation, I said that would be one of my goals. The 103 spending entities, including the legislature and the CSA itself, that is part of the spending entities, their payrolls will be audited. And you see the different numbers. Let's go back to that number. That's do you have ministerial information there? It should be the Culture Affairs and Tourism. Right there. So you have 36. You have 36. Ministry of Foreign Affairs has 35. And then the Civil Service Agency, my agency, they say that's what they got. So switch to the next. So you have 103, Center for National Documents. Now we have all these discrepancies. They're on a payroll. And we are sending money to these people all the time. We don't know who we're sending the money to, because the GSC was unable to verify who the people are serving in these positions. So right now, even though it's over 2 years since we asked them to come to be verified, but we are still being very nice. We're giving them additional 1 month to say, come, so you can be verified. And if they don't come during the month of April, we are going to permanently remove them from the payroll. And you know the percentage of the workforce that constitutes is 13.7%. In terms of dollar value, it's 3.7 million United States dollars. That's what we are paying this group of fictitious or ghost employees every month. That's what we pay. So let's go to the next exhibit, lack of national identification numbers. So you see there 564 individuals did not have NIR numbers or NINs, and is a required unique identifier for the payroll. These things are not the making of my leadership of the CSA. I continue to emphasize what my leadership is doing is only implementing the recommendations of the General Auditing Commission's payroll compliance audit that was conducted from 2018 to 2021. We are only implementing those recommendations because it's our responsibility to do that. So you have the National Legislature, 6. You have also Ministry of Finance, and you can go back up. Okay, all right, that's Ministry of Finance and Development Planning 2, National Water and Sanitation Hygiene 1. So you have Ministry of Justice 30, you have Ministry of Education 36. So I mean, 69, whenever you have Tubman University, you have the different universities. All right, so can we go to the next? We have suspected impersonation. During the audit, the GSC also identified individuals, 166 persons in total from 17 ministries and agencies who were suspected of impersonating to be qualified government employees. So that has now been rectified. These individuals, to my knowledge, have not come for verification. And so we are blocking their pay. We're not saying you won't take your pay, but we're only blocking it. It's not coming to you. So you are able to come to us and say, oh, I'm the one. And you can bring all the legal documents to prove that you are the one, that we can match with what we have in our system to verify. Once you are verified, you are entitled to your salaries. We will do that. Otherwise, if you don't come, as of the month of May, we are going to remove you from the payroll. So in that category, you have Ministry of Internal Affairs, 15 persons, Ministry of Education, you have 58, the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, you have 57, and that's understandable. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen of the press, my fellow colleagues, government officials, the NEC, the CSA, sometimes I'm a mistake, I say NEC, I work for NEC. So I'm tempted to say either NEC or the National Commission on Arms, I work on those places before. So fellow colleagues from the Civil Service Agency, please forgive me, I'm still learning it. I'm really pleased. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for projecting this and letting the public to know. From time to time, we will come here to provide updates. Again, I'm assuring the public that this is not targeted at anybody. It's not a witch hunt. Many of these names that we talk about removing are fictitious names. So nobody should incite or mislead our dear civil servants. We are aware that our dear civil servants are legitimate. We are aware that they are working. We are aware that they deserve the right thing to be done. That's what we want to do. But we are also aware that there exist ghost employees on the payroll, many of whom we have projected from these slides. And these are the ghost names, individuals that we are going after. So please do not be moved, don't panic when you hear individuals who intend to just misinform the public about our intent. This is a good and well-intentioned exercise. We will work with all our civil servants. We will ensure that their statuses are regularized so that they can enjoy the rights and benefits pertaining to their jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. Come back on the podium.
We, on behalf of the ministry, appreciate Mr. Josiah Jokad for that brilliant presentation. Members of the press, you see it for yourself that the entire reform process that he is initiated by civil service is not meant for witch hunt. People have to understand that this government was never elected to do business as usual. The other day I indicated here that the civil service in any country is a professional arm of the government. When the political pendulum is shifted and one government is leaving the scene and another government coming in, that transitional period, the country is managed by directors, inferior ministries and agencies who are civil servants. That is why it saddens me to see that the standard that was laid down in the civil service as far as 2011 to 2018, those standards vanquished, they were diminished, they depreciated, and the civil service of the country became a dumping ground for individuals for political reasons. This government has to invest in other productive sectors of the economy. It is unacceptable for us as a country to be spending millions of dollars for individuals who are not going to work. For somebody out there with an evil mindset to exploit the governance system, open a corridor, and begin a floodgates for people to just get on payroll, whether they work, whether they are competent, whether they are properly placed. It's not a business. It's not a business. So it's a problem that we have to face. And when we try to face it, there are some of our friends who are hell-bent on playing politics with every reform. Yes, I'm going talking, the government wants to lay out 40,000 civil servants. This is a government of the people. The government is not insensitive. So there's no plan. You heard it for yourself. We'll now entertain questions, and that will be presided over by the Director of Public Affairs, Mr. Fondola. Please, we appreciate for you to tag your question to the presentation that was made here by the DG. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Tobigo Darwin. I write for the People's Newspaper. Mr. Director, what can you say to Liberians who, at the capital action, has been wished to request 40,000 civil servants to go through the verification process for the personal action notice? Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG. My name is Anthony Gray, and I report for ECOWAS Radio. I have this concern, those people names, or those that are earmarked as probably those names on the listing. have they completed the paying process? Were they able to go through that process? Those people that you are not classifying as hosts, have they been through the paying process?
Thank you so much. My name is Josh Momo, and I work for KCB Liberia. And DG, you talk about names, ghost name on payroll. And those names did not come from the blue sky. They got there as a result of people within the system. So I'm concerned, in keeping with law and to serve deterrent, what the CSA is thinking about. Because people in the system aided and abetted these dubious acts.
And so my name is James Mbala. I report for the Georgia County. And ROTG, having to all of your scrutinies, capturing all of the 103 agencies with fraudulent reasons and people who come from those backgrounds. But you are not being able to tell us as to who are those legitimate numbers that are remaining in the system that the government has grabbed them and they are qualified to remain on the payroll while we try to pay the system. So I want to get a total number of people who are having the legitimacy to take the government payroll government workers. And finally, please tell me as to how. Thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you. You asked a nice question, don't spoil it. Yeah, then we take it to there, I will take all in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duba. My name is Joe Wood. I worked for this ministry several years ago. And I was trained. Let me be grateful to the government. But I have a major question. The question. Yeah, I still wait. I was called recently by the youth ministry while we appointed to and paid the new into local sectors. But I resigned, I left. I didn't resign, I get one out. Because for 1 year, was out getting the pay. And two which gave it to me. My former assistant minister gave it to me. I did not benefit allowance, transportation. I was paying my work for this disability. Coming here.
The question.
I got frustrated. So I have not been taken paid back. Could you please? How is it going to be for people who work? And I have 3 names on my account at the SAP, and I'm not getting
3 names.
3 names. My name there, but
the pay is going to another person. And your name is there 3 times.
3 times.
So you are part of that group that I talk about.
Yeah.
It means your name is on that.
Yeah.
So that's why you're not taking pay.
And
you know your case is his case is so unique that we just have to talk about it. We got another person as the last. Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
one more question? Who is it? Where's my phone? Okay, so like 2 months around.
So thank you so much, Director. I have just 2 concerns. One has to do with Michael. I'm Michael and I report for Scarlet and 5 people. So my concern has to do with those names and numbers that were delivered, especially when it comes to the mobile money accounts. What penalty measure are you guys planning on for those people who names came out? And if there is not, how can you address that?
So, thank you. My name is Ines Reeves, Soko report for Mix Radio. My question to the CSF was, with these discrepancies labeled, what are strategic measures put in place to avoid these discrepancies in the nearest future? Thank you.
Thank you. And I will start with the last one from my good friend, Dennis. That's a very good question. So our vision is divided into 2 parts. The first one in the immediate term is to make sure we give integrity to the payroll, we give integrity to the workforce, making sure that we don't have square pegs in round holes, and people who are on the payroll are people who are working and receiving just pay. That's our first overarching goal for the immediate term. Then, for the medium to long term, we are going to take measures to address this situation so that it's not repeated. So that after us, another DG will not come and stay here and say that my predecessor, Jokai, bloated the payroll, employ people fraudulently. No, we have to put a system to freeze that so that the system works for everybody. How do we want to do that? In the medium to long term, we are going to establish what you call human resource management in one place. So how does that work? We're going to design a platform. That platform will have all the human resource operations modules. For example, pension. You will have a pension module. The CSA and NASCOP will share viewing rights. NASCOP will be able to see it, CSA will be able to see it. But the only difference is that CSA will have absolute administrative rights, meaning we will control it 100%. So that when any of our patriotic employees retire and they are supposed to receive pension, they can go right there and fill out their pension form, upload their picture, and just by a click, it goes to NASCOP. That employee doesn't have to go through what he or she, others are going through right now. They have to take files, they have to go stand in queues for days. Sometimes they don't even get processed. They are frustrated through the process. Sometimes they don't even get their pension processed. So we will curtail that. We will have that online. Part of the platform, another module will be the employment system. You go online and have the PAN online. Fill out the PAN online. Attach your photo online. And with one click, it goes to the right department at CSA. CSA processes it, we process it, and we make sure that when it's approved, you are duly provided your copy. So that you have that record. And you know what your rights and benefits are. So that employment module will be available to all the spending entities, 103 spending entities. However, nobody will have the right to add anybody or remove anybody, only the CSA. So that there is accountability, there's transparency. Anything happens to any employee, it's CSA that will have to account, because CSA is the only entity that is recruiting, that controls that model. On that platform, we will also have performance management system. So that I, as a DG, I can sit from the comfort of my desk and look at the individual employee account right before me. I can navigate to the Ministry of Education and see which of the teacher in Bokonji there and see how much the person is paid, and go to the payroll and see the person pay slip and see everything. The Ministry of Education will be able to see that. But the only difference between me and the minister will be that I will have the administrative rights. The minister will not be able to change anything on our platform. When we institute that measure for all the human resource movements in one place, nobody will be able to sit in a corner as it was done a few years ago on their phone and call their son and say, oh, hello, I know you've been out of job for long, but I'm able to put people on the payroll, so give me your name, give me your mobile phone number, and they put the person there, and that's how we ended up with what we have. So nobody will be able to infiltrate that system, the human resource management, in one place. But people have concerns. How about our people in the rural areas? People are concerned that they don't have the infrastructure. So how will they access the platform? So when I was at the Elections Commission, I was part of a team that worked and built 19 magisterial offices across this country. The National Elections Commission is one of those institutions that is really decentralized. Its activities are decentralized. We developed a model, and we used that model, I replicated it at the 19 magisterial areas. The offices in each magisterial area are the same. They are all the same. It has the offices, has the sitting place, has the communication room, has a warehouse. We are bringing that same vision to the CSA. Across our 5 regions, we are going to develop a model for an office, all-encompassing. And we are currently engaged with some of our partners. Graciously, I've had meetings with many of our partners already, and I've been sharing this vision with them. Some of them are considering this vision in their long-term plan, and that's why it's part of our medium to long-term plan. We will have a model that we will replicate at our 5 regions, build it, the offices and everything, and make sure that we employ some of the best minds, experts, technicians, subject matter experts, not brothers and sisters that will just seconding to those offices. No, people who will be able to provide professional services to all our employees across the country. The same services we are providing online, they will be able to provide those services in person. So our approach will be a hybrid approach. Both virtual, where we have the platform, plus people who have access to the infrastructure, they will be able to do all their stuff online. So as you can see today, when you want anything from CSA, you have to take all the folders and get in car and run to CSA. No. Once we institute that measure, you stay right here at the ministry in your office, you hop onto the platform. It's going to be available to you people. You go to the platform and do what you are supposed to do, and we at CSA will receive it. It's such system that we're going to institute after we conclude the payroll integrity process. So those are the vision, that's our vision divided into 2 parts that we have, and that's how we address your problem. You raised a very good concern, and that's why I spent some time on your question. So I hope I was able to address it. So mobile money accounts, he's asking what we're going to do with mobile money accounts. People who got mobile money accounts, but then like they having 4 or 5 persons having 1 mobile money account that all the salaries are going into, which even signifies that all the people on the payroll with that 1 mobile money account may not even be receiving the money. That's somebody who not associated with the entire payroll, who is sitting somewhere and receiving the money while those 5 persons are working. That's the likelihood. That's the kind of thing that we have. So, if these people do not come to be verified, I will put them in one category. The 122 associated with the mobile money, the 166 associated with the shared bank accounts. If those people don't come to be verified, we will launch further investigation, and we will include the Ministry of Justice to go after them if they exist, or those who orchestrated that and are benefiting from it, exploiting that spoiled system, must be prosecuted. So the actions we are taking today is just the first step in that direction. We're not going to let it loose. Even if you don't come for verification, we are going after the people who set that up. They have to be able to explain to the Ministry of Justice, it's not in my area, that's not in my purview to handle legal matters. We refer the matters appropriately to the Ministry of Justice to deal with that. And that will fall in the purview of the Solicitor General. So, Joe, you asked a question about walking away in a frustrated manner because you worked for long, you did not receive your pay. Joe is a classic example of exactly what I'm talking about. Joe's name is on the payroll, but Joe's bank account or his mobile money account is not associated with his name. Different person's name on the payroll, receiving Joe's salary. Joe, how long did you work for?
We worked for 1 year.
Joe, do you want to come and stand beside me a little bit so that the people can see what we're talking about? Because you're a classic example of what we demonstrated. So this is the great Joe Willie Alohi. He worked for the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Joe got frustrated because he worked for a year. He was never paid. Meanwhile, his name was on the payroll. But you had a different account number associated with his name. Somebody sitting somewhere that has nothing to do with the job he's doing received his pay for a period of 1 year. So Joe is an example of the 166 or 122 that we talk about. So those kinds of discrepancies on the payroll have to be removed. And this is what we're talking about. Telling the Liberian people, cautioning them, do not give in to people who intend to exploit this process and use them. I will repeat, we have our civil servants in place. We are aware that they are working and receiving their legit salaries. Many of these names that we are removing, we are going to remove from the payroll, are names representing ghost employees. An example of ghost employee is the person who has been taking Joe's salary for 1 year. So Joe, that's what I can say. And when the measures we're taking, we definitely address that problem. So that you are legitimately working for the Liberian government, you should be receiving your salary. Because you are qualified, because you're committed, you're dedicated, you have done this for so many years, the ministry believes in your expertise, you must be paid correctly. That's what we're talking about, a merit-based system. So James, you talk about legitimate individuals on the payroll, and you want me to give you a total number of who are the legitimate individuals. This is impracticable, because right now we have not even cleared the discrepancies from the payroll. So we don't even know the exact number of who the actual or bona fide employees are until we clean the payroll and we come back here right in this room and be able to tell the Liberian people, since we started a campaign to clean the payroll, here's the total number of legitimate employees in the public service, and this is the total number of fictitious or ghost names that we have removed from the payroll, and this is the value amount. And everything will provide that to you. But right now, it's going to be impracticable to tell you that. So, Momo talk about ghost names, and you talk about deterrent. This is very important. I already answered your question, talking about deterrence. So, we're not just going to let go people who will not come to be verified. We are also going to follow them, tracing the origin of these discrepancies. Because definitely I agree with you when you say that there are people who are responsible for putting these names on the payroll. It is true. So if these people don't come during the verification period, we are going to go after those who instituted these discrepancies. And it's not our place to do that. So we will appropriately communicate with the Ministry of Justice so that they can be able to handle that. Then Anthony, you talk about ghost names. Whether or not they completed the paying process. Your answer is a resounding no. They are ghosts. So how did they complete the paying process? That's not possible. I'm not sure they did. And that's why we don't even know. That's why we are making sure that those who are legit but don't have their payments completed, they must have it completed, so that we are able to delineate, to know the difference between the ghosts and the legitimate employees. That's why Domingo, you asking question about witch hunt. Yeah. What are we doing so that the people don't think that what we're doing is a witch hunt? I cannot say it more than what I've said. I can't overemphasize it. I keep cautioning our people, and I keep telling them that this is void of any political persuasion. This is not politics. That is why everything I say here, I always quote the aspect of the law. If it is the act creating the CSA, I make the reference. If it is the civil service standing orders, I make the reference. If it is the human resource management policy, I make the reference. In my second appearance, I brought all the instruments constituting the legal framework for that guard the civil service. I showed them to all of you one by one. That's our set of guiding principles. That's what we are guided by at the CSA. Anybody at the CSA attempting to do anything outside any of those rules, then you are not part of the CSA. Because our intent here is to make sure that we perform to meet the expectations of the Liberian people, that we do the right thing. The arrest agenda is something we are committed to. It has rule of law. Rule of law. So everything we do must be consistent with the rule of law. And we are committed to doing that. So that's the last question I've answered. And once again, honorable ministers, it's really an honor for me always to be given the opportunity. I know the magnitude of what we are doing. Please permit me to also say this. I have been receiving a lot of threats. Some of them you have read on Facebook, on my posts. Many of you have seen it. I have screenshot those threats. Some of them coming to me in my personal mail. and they're saying all sorts of things to me and my family. They've involved my wife, they've involved my innocent voice. I get it on a daily basis, and I have informed the IG about it. I screenshot some of the messages and send it to the deputy IG. So I'm just letting you know that what I'm doing here is from my personal conviction. That's who I am, that's who my late dad taught me to be, to always do the right thing. I've never departed from that. Those of you who know me, I keep relationships, but that's more of the professional responsibility that I've had. I've always tried to delineate, to separate those. And there is nothing that's going to stop me from doing this job. I gave the President, His Excellency, my word, my commitment that this is what I want to do for my nation. This is the country I love. I've never taken any citizenship of any country anywhere. The only country I know is Liberia, and I remain committed to Liberia, and I will prove that by my work. And whoever is involved with those threats they are sending, I want to assure them that they got a very long time to send those threats. Very long time, because I'm unbending in this national cause. Thank you.
So that was the voice of the Executive Director.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Director General of CSA.
Director General Josiah as Joga Jr.
We'd like to add our voice to the DG
press
voice
conference here today on Wednesday.
to say to those of our friends who think that by intimidating change agents in the society is a perfect mechanism for deterrence. You have to think again. The other day the minister was here and he's indicated that this country is on rule of law. The lawlessness that was exhibited here for the last 6 years will be curtailed, and the culture of impunity must come to an end. If a public official is given a task to perform, he must be allowed the opportunity to execute his duties and functions without threats or intimidation. The civil service has to be reformed because it is part of the government arrest agenda. It's indicated that there is no attempt to wage on anybody. There's no attempt to lay off people from the payroll as it being insinuated. But then again, somebody will have to think twice. If there is somebody who got on the payroll through the proper procedure, you work with your administrative agency, you go to work every day of the week, you sign up in your book, why were you going to be threatening the Director General of the CSA? Why? The guilty mind is always suspicious. And so the threats are coming from those who are suspicious of the wrongdoing. But I do believe that the Director General is a man of courage. He's not going to be intimidated by whatever Facebook posting or private messages you send to him. Some of the numbers will have to be traced. So perpetrators can be arrested. That being said, we'd like to say thanks again to our friends from the independent media for complimenting our effort. Tomorrow will be another busy day for us. The county meet is about to start. As you are aware, it was postponed in December. And with the new administration prioritizing the essence of reconciliation, sport and unification, the county meet will kick off in a matter of weeks. And so our friends from the Ministry of Youth and Sports will be here tomorrow. They are not only going to talk about matters of sport, but you know the Ministry of Youth and Sport is a very integral part of the President's 100-day deliverables. So they're going to be talking about at-risk youth, what the government is doing to target and raise youth from a very positive perspective and giving them a better future. Our friends from the Ministry of Youth and Sport will be here tomorrow. We are also being informed that the Ministry of Public Works will be here tomorrow. All these things are part of the President's 100-day delivery. The President is on record to say that in the first 100 days of the administration, no car will get stuck in the mud. And the processes leading to the fulfillment or realization of that pronouncement have been set into motion. You see, over time, moving equipment have been deployed as special corridors on major highways in the country. That is intended to make the road pliable. So against Stock Melbourne Road, we are not engineer. The people from the Ministry of Youth, from Public Works will be here tomorrow, and the Ministry of Youth will also be here tomorrow. I ask you to please come on time so that again we can work together in the interest of the Liberian people. Thank you very much.
Is the voice of the Deputy Minister for Technical Services and Mika, regular press briefing today on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Thanks for always sharing. Thanks for following up on our channel. My name is Wise and William. Do join us in the